So let's talk about this first part. I have tried everything. This might not be an issue of technique. It may not be an issue of ideas. This may be more an issue of implementation. So let's say when you say, I've tried everything, maybe that includes I've tried meditating. Okay. What meditation looks like for you is not necessarily what it looks like for the next person. How it's being taught, how it's being implemented might be different from person to person or guru to guru. What I think about meditation might not match the next person's. So meditation can look different. So when we say I've tried everything, my question is more of like, okay, but what did it look like for you? Was it the right fit for you? Was that technique or the way that you did it was the right fit for you? Not just for you, but also your state that you're in, because it may not be. The issue here is we have to find what works for you. And I'm talking in general, not just for the person, Andy Marsh, that wrote this, but just in general, for all of us. We have to find what works for us. No matter what that technique is, whatever the therapeutic modality, it has to be the right fit for us. And it has to be a way that feels safe enough. So if you are attempting meditation, it doesn't feel safe, it's not going to help. Or at least the way you're doing it is not going to help. There might be a way that's a better fit for you, but that's something you kind of have to explore. I know for me, when I do meditation, I don't like pre-recorded guided meditations. That doesn't do it for me. All of a sudden, the person's talking about light beams channeling through me, and I'm like, no, there's not. There's no light beams. It's just me. So I need something that's pretty much in the moment, pretty... I like my own self-guided thing, so that doesn't work for me. I kind of get the idea of what I want out of meditation, and when I attempt it, I'm good. I don't need someone telling me there's light beams. Point is, it has to work for you. And the person mentioned building safety anchors. Yeah, I have a course called Building Safety Anchors, and that has a lot to do with what I'm talking about here. When I built the course, I don't know the right answer for you. I don't know the right answer for any of us. I don't know what technique is best for you. All I know is it's extremely important to build. Well, not all I know, but a lot of what I know is it's extremely important to build the capacity to feel safe. Obviously, by now, if you've listened to the podcast, you already know this. So building safety anchors is about helping you figure out what feels safe for you. And it's guided. It guides you. It teaches you different pieces of what could bring you to safety. But what that looks like in particular is very much dependent, on you. So building safety anchors helps you build safety anchors. It doesn't teach you what is safe for you. It teaches what is safe for many of us, like music, like sensory stimulation, movement. That's true for many of us, but what that looks like for you, I don't know. And that's completely honest. Building safety anchors, I think, is a really good guide. I think it puts you on the path, but what that path looks like, it's you have to bring some curiosity to that. So even if you're not in building safety anchors, just as you do research, as you're reading up on different Instagram therapists, guru people, take what they are saying. That's fine, but ask yourself, is this right for me? Is this right for me right now? Is this right for me in the state that I'm in today or right now, this moment? It might not be. Even the same therapy modalities you would think are it's supposed to be like a medical model where there's a diagnosis and here's the modality, which is like a medicine in a way, or a tool or a technique that we're going to give to remedy the diagnosis. But that is not true. Even the same therapy modality will be more or less effective based on who is implementing it. So how I do somatic work, how I integrate that into my therapeutic stance is going to be different than the next person who also does therapeutic work. How somebody may do EMDR is not going to look, and I've heard from EMDR therapists saying, what I do in EMDR does not match what I'm hearing from other people. I'm not trained in EMDR. I don't know enough about it to speak on any expert level, but I've had at least one client tell me that their previous EMDR therapist jumped straight to the bilateral stimulation. And I know there's a lot more to EMDR than just moving your eyes back and forth. But that previous therapist like couldn't wait, and in session 1 they were right on it. And I don't think that's the right way to do it, but don't quote me on that, please. The point is, the fidelity to the model that's being implemented is not guaranteed. These models are built to be a certain way, to flow a certain way, and more or less. But I mean, like, trust me, I've been in treatment teams where my therapiers are discussing what modalities they've used, and I've spent time with these people. I've spent time maybe shadowing in session when I was like brand new to the field. I've seen them work. And to hear them talk about and name and label what modality they're using does not match what I've seen. And I'm just kind of like, oh, you call that CBT? Okay, then. So even though we might say, hey, we've tried everything. I've tried EMDR, I've tried CBT, I've tried DBT, I've tried ACT, I've tried all the letters of the alphabet in every possible order we could put them in. And nothing works. But it's like, okay, I get it. But was this given to fidelity? Was it given with the right person you actually had some connection with? Was it the right technique for you in that moment, in that day? So it's hard to say you've tried everything. I don't think anyone means that literally. Although I think the letter writer did say they mean it literally. Yeah, that's the basic idea there. So what I would ask for each of us is to ask ourselves, what do we need in this moment based on what state we are in? EMDR might not be it. CBT may not be it. I would really encourage you to ask yourself, what do I need for my system right now? What would feel safe? What would feel doable? Maybe what will feel challenging that I can tolerate, and try things based on your state. If you're in a shutdown state, going boxing may not be helpful. If you're in therapy, that therapist needs to be able to read what state you're in. They need to be able to know. They need to be able to adapt their techniques based on what state you're in. So I know that probably was more complex than needed to be. I get it. We feel like we've tried everything. We're at a place of maybe even feeling hopeless or helpless. I get it. But I don't think the options are done. And hey, you haven't even tried building safety anchors. So you haven't tried everything.